Almost a year later, and subpoenas are still being issued in regards to the insurrection on January 6th. We will have the latest updates on the investigation.
And the California drought continues to get worse, with water supply hitting critical lows. How to stop the drought, and more on This Week on Chapman News.
From Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Good afternoon and welcome to this week's episode of Chapman News. I'm Peyton Bell.
And I'm Adrienne Mitchell. We begin today with an update on the tragedy that occurred at the Astroworld Music Festival in Texas. 9 people are dead after a massive crowd surge took place at rapper Travis Scott's music festival. However, as more details about what led up to the tragedy come out, the picture becomes sadder and sadder. Emma Sexton takes a deep dive into what went wrong in Houston.
Stop the show! Stop the show! Stop the show! Stop the show!
What was supposed to be a night of fun at Travis Scott's Astroworld turned deadly when a crowd surge took place. Thousands of people rushing the stage at the same time. 9 people were killed in the crush. The youngest victim only 14. Hundreds of others were injured, including a 9-year-old boy who's now in a medically induced coma. Medical staff at the show were overwhelmed by the crowd of 50,000 people.
So as soon as I get third CPR kind of out the door, out of the way from the crowd, I tell them, look, 3 people dropped in the span of 10 minutes that only I could see. There's like over, 50,000 people here, and I witnessed 3, only me. There's gotta be more.
This isn't the first time crowds have been a problem at a Travis Scott concert. Just 4 years ago, a man was left paralyzed at Scott's concert after he was accidentally pushed off the 3rd floor due to overcrowding. The singer has also been arrested twice for encouraging fans to taunt security at his shows. An attorney for one of the victims says police were concerned about safety before the concert even began.
You should know that the police chief of Houston met with Travis Scott before this concert, before he went on, expressing his concerns with some of the rhetoric that Scott had let go before the concert.
In a now-deleted tweet, Scott encouraged his fans to sneak into his festival after tickets sold out. A criminal investigation is underway, and it's unclear if Scott will face criminal charges. Fans and victims are calling for accountability from everyone involved. The brother of one victim, Donish Beg, spoke out against Scott and other parties.
All the parties that were that set up this event should be held accountable. If that means rules and regulations need to be changed, how they do things, how they act, and how they make these events, they need to do something about it. They have blood on their hands.
One thing investigators will be asking is why didn't Travis Scott stop the concert sooner? Scott continued to perform for nearly 40 minutes after officials declared a mass casualty at his event. Scott has been criticized for not stopping the concert. Many other big artists have been known to stop mid-song in order to protect fans' safety.
Are you good in there? No? Can we get some waters for these people, please?
Stop. Someone's fainting again. Excuse me, medic, right in the middle.
In a video posted to his Instagram, Scott claims he did not know people were injured.
Anytime I can make out, anything that's going on, I just stop the show and, help them get the help they need,
Tosh Peterson, a drummer who just finished tour with Machine Gun Kelly, has had his own experiences with violent crowds.
We've had scenarios where, we saw this, recently, we saw this dude, in the front row, grab his girlfriend by the neck and, push her. And so we were I went to jump in the crowd, but then the security guard, handled it. But we, called him out and stuff,
That willingness to jump in the crowd is what prevents people from getting hurt. And even if security didn't stop it, there's a certain amount of responsibility on Scott.
It's his festival. Obviously, it's all going to fall back on him. He knows how his crowds are. He encourages that behavior.
This tragedy will likely cause big changes in the way we protect fans at large festivals and shows. For Chapman News, I'm Emma Sexton.
Vigils have been held all around the country for the victims of this disaster. And at this point, all we can hope for is justice for them and their families.
Some sobering news on the economy this week, confirming what a lot of us find at the grocery store each week. Inflation across the country jumped over 6% in the past year, the biggest 12-month increase in 30 years. That's right, 30 years. Everything is going up in price from the local deli to the gas station. The price of meat, chicken, eggs, and fish together is up 2% in October. Used car prices, 2.5%. Energy prices, almost 5%. President Biden addressed the surge in a speech in Baltimore on Wednesday.
What happens if there's nothing to buy, you got more money, you compete for getting it there, it creates a real problem.
While wages are increasing, average hourly pay increased almost 0.5% in October. Overall earnings are down due to the rise in prices. In the latest key issue facing his administration, Biden says reversing the trend is a top priority. The lack of supply driving up the prices might not get better anytime soon, though, with the holiday season right around the corner. President Biden says his infrastructure bill will be key to addressing inflation.
With more on this is our political correspondent, Jack Hole. Jack, what does this bill mean for these skyrocketing prices?
Well, President Biden has stated that one of the top economic concerns for his administration is lowering prices, especially with the supply chain being one of the priorities. His infrastructure bill proposes that $17 billion be invested in expanding and renovating ports, along with $3.4 billion in various other expansion projects. It's clear that the administration believes that the supply chain running smoothly is the best way to fix this issue. Whether that affects your wallets at the gas pump remains to be seen. Now with some breaking news, this morning former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows defied a subpoena and refused to appear for his disposition today in front of the House Select Committee investigating January 6th. Sources tell CNN that there is a panel beginning a criminal referral process against him. Meadows follows Trump advisor Steve Bannon, who was a no-show a couple weeks ago. A federal judge granted Trump's request to keep documents surrounding the January 6th insurrection secret. The ruling reverses a ruling from just 2 days ago stating that Congress's powers of congressional oversight overruled all executive privileges. Or as U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan stated, presidents are not kings and plaintiff is not president. The documents in question entail the actions and conversations of Trump leading up to the attack. The ruling is just another shakeup in a hectic week for the Capitol riot investigation, where a flurry of subpoenas have been issued. 16 of former President Trump's closest associates received subpoenas, including former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and former Chapman professor John Eastman. Eastman is of particular interest for his memo outlining the efforts to overturn last year's election. The memo recommended that the former vice president toss out results from 7 states, writing that because of the ongoing disputes in 7 states, there are no electors that can be deemed validly appointed in those states. The subpoenas come as Attorney General Merrick Garland faces criticism for his actions, or lack thereof, against former President Trump advisor Steve Bannon, who was held in criminal contempt over 2 weeks ago for defying subpoena orders. As of now, no further action has taken place. Politicians and pundits are arguing that his ineffectiveness could jeopardize the future of the investigation.
Here's what you have to research. Was the subpoena duly authorized? Yes. Did he show up? No. Then arrest him. And we're done. Why doesn't your Justice Department care? Yeah. Where is the sense of urgency coming from the Justice Department and the FBI to care about these things and to do something about them? Because I don't see it.
This week's set of subpoenas brings the total to 35. Others include Trump's senior advisor Stephen Miller, campaign manager William Stepien, and former senior advisor Jason Miller. They all have until the end of the month to submit documents to the committee. That's the political rundown for this week. I'm Jack Hole.
LA City Councilman Mike Bonin may be facing recall. More than 39,000 people have signed a petition to put the recall measure on the ballot. One supporter of the recall says the councilman's district is frustrated by high crime and homelessness. Bonin's district includes parts of West LA, including Venice, Pacific Palisades, and Brentwood. Only 27,000 signatures are needed, but now the Board of Elections needs to make sure these signatures are valid. Governor Newsom says he's preparing the state for a possible COVID surge this winter. Although California has the least amount of COVID cases in the nation, Newsom says hospitalizations have started creeping up again in Southern California. Health Secretary Mark Galley predicts colder weather will keep families inside and holiday gatherings will come at a time when vaccine-based and natural immunity will fade, unless people get booster shots.
If you think you will benefit from getting a booster shot, I encourage you to go out and get it.
Along with booster shots, Governor Newsom advises his children to get the COVID vaccine as well, in order to keep families safe over the holidays.
It's LA's first week with the vaccine mandate, and that means you need to show proof of vaccination to enter LA restaurants, bars, gyms, and movie theaters. While the order is technically in effect right now, city officials say they won't start enforcing it until November 29th to give businesses time to adjust. But once the rules are enforced, businesses could be fined anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 if non-compliant. And speaking of non-compliance, some Los Angeles city workers are not happy about complying with another vaccination mandate. Thousands gathered outside LA City Hall earlier this week. They were protesting the Los Angeles employee vaccination mandate, which states employees have until December 18th to get vaccinated or prepare to lose their jobs.
We shouldn't be told that we're going to lose our jobs, that we're going to lose our freedoms, that our children aren't going to be able to go to school.
And the unrest isn't only in Los Angeles. In Orange, protesters filled the streets in the downtown area, holding signs opposing vaccine mandates. One Orange County resident said he opposed the vaccine because he thought it was government overreach.
There's going to come a point where many people are going to say, I don't want my 8th, 10th booster. Because when we give up our freedoms, we give up everything. We subject ourselves to government tyranny.
General vaccine hesitancy may be contributing to LA's low demand for booster shots. As of late October, only 27% of fully immunized seniors in LA County have received their booster shot. And only 9% of LA County nursing homes have completed booster vaccine clinics for their residents. Scientists say that immunity offered by vaccines can lessen 6 months after the final dose of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine and 2 months after Johnson & Johnson. This week, Pfizer asked federal regulators to expand the authorization of their booster shot to include all adults over 18. The New York Times says it's likely the FDA will grant the request, possibly before Thanksgiving. Pfizer says that its pill packs Lovid cut the risk of hospitalization and death from COVID by 89% in high-risk adults. The company is currently working on getting their pill authorized for emergency use.
The climate conference in Europe continues. We'll update you on the latest happenings.
And if you want to see the direct effects of climate change, look no further than the drought taking away our water supply. I'll give you the latest harrowing updates on it and your 7-day forecast after the break.
I'll be seeing you in all of our favorite places with laughter and warm embraces all day through.
I love you too.
With free COVID-19 vaccines, sunnier days are ahead. Visit getvaccineanswers.org.
I'll be seeing you.
USC is one of several college campuses receiving bomb threats this week. Several USC buildings had to be evacuated. No bombs were found, and the buildings were reopened within a few hours. Other schools, including NYU, MIT, and several Ivy League campuses, also received threats. Luckily, there were no injuries reported.
An update on the Alec Baldwin shooting. The chief of lighting from the movie set of Rust is now suing Baldwin along with the armorer and assistant director. The crew member filing the lawsuit, Serge Svetnoy, was a longtime friend of shooting victim Helena Hutchins. They worked together on 9 films. Svetnoy said he tried to save Hutchins while she was bleeding out on the ground after the shooting. In a news conference this week, Svetnoy's lawyers said the incident could have been avoided if safety was a priority on set. This tragedy sparked a discussion about the use of firearms on film sets and the lack of safety precautions. Actor Dwayne Johnson recently announced his production company, Seven Bucks Production, will no longer use real guns on set, while Alec Baldwin tweeted that police officers should be present when any real or fake weapon is being used. Now, according to Variety, over 200 cinematographers have signed a letter vowing to, quote, no longer knowingly work on projects using functional firearms or for filming purposes. Dodge College film professor Adam Rote anticipates an even heavier reliance on computer-generated imagery.
What's going to happen in not only film schools, but the industry, when they're saying we're going to go all CGI, they're already doing it, but now they're going to do it more. In other words, I'm wondering, because it hasn't been revealed yet, are they going to put CGI guns in someone's hand, which is pretty hard to do? What's going to happen with you guys, and not only us, but other film schools? How do you do action shots if there's going to be any kind of weapon involved?
Students and faculty will just have to wait and see what new regulations are put into place regarding props that will and will not be permitted on student film sets.
Today, a Louisiana board voted to pardon Homer Plessy, the namesake of the U.S. Supreme Court's 1896 separate but equal ruling, affirming state segregation laws. The State Board of Pardons made a unanimous decision to clear Plessy's record of a conviction for refusing to leave a whites-only train car in New Orleans. Governor John Bel Edwards has the final say over the pardon. Facebook, now known as Meta, has been in the news quite a bit lately, but not for the reasons they would like. Jared Formanek takes a look at the company and speaks to an expert as to where the company goes from here.
Facebook has changed its parent company name to Meta. Some say it's a publicity stunt, but Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg says it's the right move for the future.
Our mission remains the same. It's still about bringing people together. Our apps and their brands, they're not changing either. And we are still the company that designs technology around people.
This name change comes as the company is under fire because of the Facebook papers, thousands of internal company documents that have recently been made public. The papers reveal many Facebook employees were critical of the company's efforts to control misinformation posted by users. How can Facebook recover from this controversy? I spoke with Chapman University Public Relations professor Catherine Thibault to get her take on the issue.
As far as moving into how do you recover from that, I think there's a couple things. One, time. Every business has a solution of time. And I think another part is how they respond to it. If they respond by treating it as something that they're kind of trying to brush under the rug, that'll be a signal to people that they have something to hide. If they're going to head it, kind of face it head on and have more transparency as a brand, I think that's a way that people will begin to build some trust again.
But is Facebook's name change an effective strategy to rebrand? Professor Thibault isn't quite sure.
I think it's been highly speculated, did they shift to the name of Meta as part of a response mechanism to the whistleblower? And I think it's hard to say whether that was a reaction that they had. Obviously, it was something they had planned at some point. Did it move up the timeline for that? That's hard to say.
Professor Thibault says there's more Meta can do to score better publicity points.
I would love it if they as a brand stepped forward and kind of took some form of ownership, whether they're admitting to being right or wrong. If they just took here's the steps we're taking, and kind of like leaning into that transparency. And I think that will go a long way for people to begin to trust them again and have a perception that they're a company I can have faith in.
For Chapman News, I'm Jared Formanek.
All around campus, many students are getting sick with colds and the flu. And while many know how to treat it, most do not know how to prevent it. The Chapman Health staff advises students to wash their hands and try to maintain a healthy diet.
Vegetables and fruits and, whole grain are probably and lean proteins would be the best source of good nutrition. So if you can go to farmer markets or sometimes local Sprouts and different local stores will have sales, and maybe you can kind of check weekly to see where you can purchase some of the things that perhaps may be at more, cost savings for individuals.
Others, wash your hands, hydrate, eat well, and most importantly, get your flu shot if you can to avoid the flu this season.
The U.S. and China shake up the conference this week with a surprise announcement pledging to work together to slow global warming. This agreement could not come soon enough, as the two countries are the worst polluters in the world. But China and the U.S. are not the only countries taking action on climate change. To make a point about the urgency of the climate crisis, a representative of the Pacific Island nation of Tuvalu made their speech to the climate conference from a podium submerged underwater.
In Tuvalu, we are living the realities of climate change, sea level rise, as you stand watching me today at COP26. We cannot wait for speeches when the sea is rising around us all the time. Climate mobility must come to the forefront. We must take bold, alternative action today to secure tomorrow.
According to a United Nations science report, countries can kickstart their long-term policies with urgent responses in 3 areas: linking post-pandemic fiscal recovery to curbing emissions, slashing methane pollution, and building a global carbon market. However, there continues to be disagreement on how to reach these goals. 4 of the world's largest vehicle makers, Volkswagen, Toyota, Renault-Nissan Alliance, and Hyundai-Kia, have not signed an emissions agreement. The US and China, countries with the 2 largest car markets, also did not sign. Former President Barack Obama spoke at COP26, urging young people to stay proactive in their climate activism.
So to all the young people out there, as well as those of you who consider yourselves young at heart, I want you to stay angry. I want you to stay frustrated. Keep pushing harder and harder for more and more, because that's what's required to meet this challenge.
While leaders in Europe continue to fight over how to face climate change, we continue to see its effects here in SoCal.
Taylor Sato joins us in the Weather Center to discuss the climate change-induced drought that continues to ravage the region.
Declared a state of emergency in Southern California. The last 2 years in California were the driest in more than 100 years. California gets 1/3 of its water from a reservoir called State Water Project.
This is a wake-up call for all of us, for us to continue and double down on conservation, double down on recycling and reuse, and we want to continue to work hard to ensure everyone can turn the tap and have water.
Governor Newsom issued an executive order urging Californians to voluntarily reduce their water use by 15%. Newsom says this would save enough water to supply more than 1.7 million households for a year. We can meet this goal by limiting outdoor watering, using recycled water when possible, taking shorter showers, and only running dishwashers and washing machines when they are full. Now onto your weather forecast, starting with our current temperature in Orange. It is very warm today, not really helping our drought. It's 91 degrees today in Orange. Now onto the national forecast, starting with the West Coast. In Seattle, we see early morning showers that continue through the afternoon. It's going to be a high temperature of 58 degrees. Moving our way down the West Coast, San Francisco is going to be mostly cloudy with some sunshine throughout the day with a temperature of 64 degrees. Another warm day in Vegas, 81 degrees, mostly sunny. And another nice day in Denver as well, 57 degrees. Winter is starting to trickle in Minneapolis, 38 degrees high temperature with chance of rain and snow showers throughout the day. Also Chicago, 42 degrees, mostly cloudy with chance of rain and snow showers throughout the early morning. In New York City and Washington, D.C., it's going to be a high temp of 64 degrees. We have early morning showers, but they will clear up and sunshine will come out in later afternoon. Down in Atlanta, Georgia, it's a beautiful day, 67 degrees and sunny. In Miami, Florida, it's a high temp of 79 degrees. We do see some chance of rain and thunder throughout the day, but it will clear up. Onto the Orange County forecast. It's really warm in inland Orange County today. Very hot. I recommend dressing accordingly. For the city of Orange, we're sitting at a high temp of 94 degrees. In inland Orange County, 92 degrees in Irvine, followed by 93 degrees in Mission Viejo. Westminster, 91 degrees. However, if you're along coastal Orange County, the temperatures are cooling down just a little bit. Newport Beach sitting at 76 degrees. Laguna Beach a little warmer at 82 degrees. Finally, San Clemente, 81 degrees. Now on to the Orange 7-day forecast. Today is going to be the highest temperature of the week, mostly sunny, 94 degrees. This weekend is going to start to cool down just a little bit with the high temperatures of 88 degrees Saturday and Sunday. Monday, we see that cloud coverage start coming in. It's going to be a high temp of 83 degrees on Monday, followed by a low of 55 degrees. Then it continues to drop in temperature throughout the week. Tuesday will be mostly cloudy with a high temp of 73 degrees. And Wednesday and Thursday, it will be partly cloudy with temperatures continuing to fall at 69 and 68 degrees. That's your weather for today. I'm Taylor Sato. Back to you guys at the desk.
Anna Montemore here, and coming up on the Best Campus Sports Show, we'll have the latest on the Aaron Rodgers COVID vaccine conspiracy, a recap of Chapman's fall sports, and much more, so stay tuned.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. Paw?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
I'm Anna Montemore, and welcome back to the Best Campus Sports Show. We have a lot to cover on this week, so let's jump into it. The Olympic gold medalist Suni Lee is speaking out about being the target of a racial attack in Los Angeles. Lee says her and some friends, all women of Asian heritage, were waiting for an Uber last month when a car drove up and someone began yelling racial slurs. She then was attacked with pepper spray from a passenger in the car. The 18-year-old says, quote, "I was so mad, but there was nothing I could do or control because they skirted off." She continued, "Having the reputation, it's so hard because I didn't want to do anything that could get me into trouble. I just let it happen." This is just one example of the many attacks against Asian Americans that have only increased since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. An update now on the COVID vaccine controversy surrounding Aaron Rodgers, who remains in the hot seat. Both the Packers and Rodgers have been fined by the NFL, the Packers owing $300K and Rodgers now owing $14K, which we all know is just chump change for them both. Other than this small fine, Rodgers' net favorability among U.S. adults dropped from 29 points in August to 3 points over the last weekend. Rodgers was not able to play against the Chiefs last Sunday, and Green Bay is unsure if he will be able to play this weekend against the Seattle Seahawks. In NHL news, Bob Murray, the Anaheim Ducks general manager, resigned this week. He informed the Ducks that he would be enrolling himself in an alcohol abuse program. Ducks owner Henry and Susan Samueli apologized on behalf of the organization for anyone who might have been affected by Murray's misconduct and stated they will not stand for any kind of abuse. The Ducks are now looking for their new general manager and plan to have one by next summer. Now for our fall athletics recap, starting with Chapman volleyball. The team had a long run and concluded their season falling just short in the SCIAC finals, finishing at a very respectable second in conference. Both men's and women's soccer teams also advanced into the playoffs, but unfortunately were knocked out in the first round. The women's team finished in third place and the men's in fourth. Chapman football concludes its season as well, sitting third in conference. Though they did not win the SCIAC, the team had many achievements and even broke some school records this season. And that does not conclude all of Chapman athletics for the semester, as basketball kicks off its preseason this Saturday with the men's team going against Puget Sound and the women's team playing Masters University. And this is just the start of winter sports. Well, that's all I have for you this week on the Best Campus Sports Show. I'm Anna Montemore, and now on to entertainment with Danielle Berknorth.
Thanks, Anna. 3 years later, 2 men have pleaded guilty in connection with the overdose death of Mac Miller. I'll give you all the details after the break.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
What's up, everyone? I'm Danielle Brook-North, and I've got all the latest news in the entertainment world. Starting on a serious note, a 38-year-old man, Ryan Rivas, is pleading guilty for his part in the accidental overdose death of rapper Mac Miller, who died 3 years ago. Miller was sold fentanyl-laced pills 2 days before he died. He was just 26 years old. Both Rivas and another drug dealer will plead guilty in the coming weeks. According to the CDC, synthetic opioids like fentanyl are the primary cause of overdose deaths in the U.S. The estate of Tupac Shakur has announced that an exhibit exploring the life and legacy of the late rapper, Tupac, will open January 21st at the Canvas at LA Live. The exhibit will be called Tupac Shakur, Wake Me When I'm Free, and has been described by USA Today as a fully immersive, thought-provoking museum experience. Tupac is considered to be one of the most influential rappers of all time. Sadly, in 1996, he was shot and killed at age 25. The exhibit is expected to spend 6 months in Los Angeles and has hopes of touring to other cities. I finally joined the crowd and watched Squid Game this weekend. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. The Korean dystopian drama is still ranked in top 10 Netflix shows worldwide. And get ready, because the show will be coming back with a season 2. This is big news because many shows run for only 1 season in South Korea. But after the global response, the director says there's no other option but to make another season. That being said, he is still working on getting Netflix to fund and stream the 2nd season, which shouldn't be a problem for them given the ratings. Now onto our favorite pop princess. Arianators, get excited. Ariana Grande's vegan beauty line, Rem, launches today. The first drop, called Chapter 1 Ultraviolet, contains everything you need to look on fleek 24/7. From volumizing mascara, smooth gliding eyeliner, plumping lip gloss, to a dreamy eyeshadow palette. I can't wait to try her products out. But that's not all you can look forward to. The pop star plans to venture into the skincare world soon. And this wouldn't be an entertainment segment without some of the latest Hollywood drama. It looks like Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, is extending an olive branch. The Donda rapper and Drake, a certified lover boy, have been feuding for a long time. But now, Ye has asked Drake to join him on stage in December to celebrate their 2 biggest albums of the year. But more importantly, help free Larry Hoover, Chicago's infamous gang leader who is currently serving 6 death sentences. In an IG video, Ye said, "Both me and Drake have taken shots at each other, and it's time to put it to rest." Will Ye and Drake really be able to squash the beef between them and put the past behind? If they do, I will truly be in my feelings. That's all the tea I'm spilling this week. I'm Danielle Brook-North.
An accidental discovery this week has confirmed a new species of dinosaur. A doctoral student at London's Natural History Museum, Jeremy Lockwood, was conducting research on the diversity of large plant-eating dinosaur Iguanodon, the most common dinosaur fossil specimens found across the pond in the UK. Lockwood soon came to realize that the Iguanodon had a straight, flat nose, while the newly discovered dinosaur, Bristonia simonzi, had a rounded one. They also had more teeth, which were designed for chewing plants. It's crazy how much we still don't know.
Yeah, tell that to my professor when I didn't know the answer to yesterday's test. Well, that's it for us this week. Don't miss an episode of Chapman News at www.chapmannews.com and follow us on social media at Chapman News. I'm Adrienne Mitchell.
And I'm Peyton Bell, and we'll be back next week to give you all the latest news.